Tuesday. Thank you for joining me today. Come on in, have a seat. If you haven't done so already, why not? Like and subscribe. I just want to say thank you. I'll never forget to thank everyone. I'm very grateful to have you guys on my platform and following me, and definitely listen to the stories that I tell, and the ones that offer the feedback or have a question after every episode. I definitely appreciate you guys. You're keeping me on my toes. Thank you so very much. I haven't forgot. I still want to interview. My next call will be to a female to get a female's point of view of some of the episodes that I have just recently talked about. Domestic violence, being a victim of it, of myself, and seeing how everybody else is going through it, if that's even the case for you. So with that being said, I don't know who needs to hear this, but Kiwi's gonna say it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna ask you to say it with me. One thing about me, I always get through it. Say with me, one thing about me, I will always get through it. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're just like, why is this happening to me? And you don't think that there's any resolve that you're going to get through it, that you're going to make it through it? And now they're just memories. This is why I'm sharing my stories with you, because I got through it. And I thank God. This is why you see on my shirt today, it says blessed. I thank God for getting me through the trials and tribulations, and I'm stronger because of it. So, it's time. I have a story to tell. Back in 2008, I met a man. He actually lived in my apartment complex. I was actually in a relationship with the love of my life. I know you guys heard me talk about him. But we were in such a toxic roller coaster. So I decided that enough was enough, and I decided that I wasn't going to endure it anymore. There was this man that saw me crying one day, and he took it upon himself to go give me some flowers, and the card on the flower said, "I hope to make you smile." And that he did. Perfect gentleman. Would open the door. He was about 10 years older than me. Would open the door and do all the things that gentlemen do, right? So we started talking and then dating. But unlike every other relationship that I ever been in, one thing I did with the guy that I was dealing with at the moment, I went to him and I took him out to dinner, and I literally said, I gave him an ultimatum. It was like, me and you're going to cut off all these other bitches that you're dealing with, and you're going to focus on me, and let's do this thing, or leave me the fuck alone, and I'm going to give this guy a try, a chance. For the sake of name protection, we're going to call him Keith. I don't know why I came up with Keith, but we're going to call him Keith. So I tell the love of my life that I'm going to give Keith a chance, because I think that this man, his maturity and what I've observed from him, I kind of was curious of, what's going to happen. So I slowly but surely put him off to the side. And so I started dating Keith faithfully. We're talking, we're doing all the things. And a month maybe into it, we became official. I'm always at his house. He's always at my house. And then you guys are going to say, God, I get married quick. 6 months later, we were married. Yes. 6 months later. Well, it's not as bad as the first time. The first time I got married 3 weeks later. So, hey, still young and dumb. Anyway, so after we get married, we're having the newlywed stuff. And one of the most difficult things was that blended family. He had children, I had children, and so we were trying to merge families, and it was very difficult for us to do so, especially when there's outside ex-husbands and ex-wives, and now they want to say so in our relationship. Just made it very difficult, but we got through it as husband and wife, and we, because we were determined to make this thing work. I have a confession. Yes, I'm about to confess something. I married this man to get over the love of my life. And I'm not proud of it. I promise you I'm not proud of him. That, my actions. So I married him to get over the love of my life. Everybody knew it. I low-key think he knew it too. So Keith, I think he kind of knew it. But anyway, so I trained myself, or convinced myself to love him. Like, why not? He was worthy of all the things. But because maybe he secretly kind of knew it, that's where the trouble begins. When you don't build a foundation in any relationship, friendships, best friends, children, whatever, if you don't build a foundation with brutal honesty, if your foundation is built on sex, if your foundation is built on physical attraction, that foundation, you're already starting your relationship off rocky. You really are. So here I am starting this relationship off rocky, and I'm thinking, well, it's going to be a different outcome. I don't really love him, so it's not like he can really hurt me. But then after the years, over the time, I tried to love him, but there was something in me that would not allow me to give him my 100%. Because I never let go of that man. I still have a place in my heart for him, and he knows it. Even though we're, not dealing with, that's another story. I'll share that with you later. But with my second husband, Keith, I knew that I was building this foundation on rocky turf, and I was hoping that maybe I can smooth it out and we'll be good. You can't do that. So whatever your relationship was built on, I want you to think about that. I want you to be like, we built this foundation. I met him on a dating app. Next thing you know, we're smashing 2 days later, and now we're in love. Is that really the foundation you want to build that on? And if you are the side piece, and then all of a sudden she leaves her man for you, or she leaves her man for you, or you leave your woman for her, right? How you get him is how you lose him. That's all I got to say. And that is fact, that is proven, no lie. How you get him is how you lose him. So I already knew, not then, I know now, I built this foundation on rocky terms because I wanted to get over the love of my life, because we were so toxic. But this man, he gave me everything. So Keith was the type of man that was very romantic. He was older than me. He was 12 years older than me. And if I had a bad day, he made sure my day was better. Like, I would leave from work and there would be a teddy bear and a note or something like that. Or just because, flowers all the time. And I finally told him one day, like, you don't need to be spending all this money on me. So he got creative, and one day he took a whole sticky pad and wrote a message on every page and then posted it all over the bathroom mirror. So when I got ready for work, there's all these stickies, how beautiful you are, how lucky I am to have a wife like you, all the things, right? Keith had me looking this way because he was doing dirt over here. The whole time I'm thinking, okay, I got an older man, so I'm not going to have to go through the bullshit that all these immature guys are doing. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, the age doesn't fucking matter. It is the maturity of the person, if their integrity, and if they have morals, and if they believe in God and all the things, right? So this man, he was just better at it. And I was young, so I didn't realize that this shit was even like a thing. The struggle was real. So the whole time I'm looking this way, and I was never that wife. And people are saying, well, how did you find out? I didn't even look. I didn't have to look, because what you do in the dark will come into the light. Are you living your life right? Are you doing a lot of stuff in the dark? It's eventually, it may not happen tomorrow. It may not even happen a year from now. but it will be exposed. This is probably one of the reasons why I did, when I did my self-reflecting, I said, I'm never going to live a lie. If you ask me the question, I'm going to tell you the truth. You may not like the answer. You may not like the answer, but you're going to get the brutal, honest truth. If I'm dating you, which, if I'm dating you, we're in a relationship and I did something foul and you said, hey, Kiwi, did you yada, yada, yada? I'm going to be like, fuck. But I'm going to suffer that consequence, because the consequences are always more when you lie. So let's be honest, people. Remember, I talked about that. You lie to yourself more than you lie to anybody else, right? So anyways, back to Keith. He had me looking this way when in actuality, he was doing so many like online profiles, dating women younger than me. Like, I low key, like, how far do you go back? You know what I mean? Let me tell you how I found out. I wasn't looking. Promise you I wasn't. Why would I look? He didn't give me a reason to look. He was doing all the things, you know what I mean? He was being that husband. He stepped up. Whatever I wanted, he gave it to me. There was no signs of suspicion. I was actually long story short, there was a call that came through about his oldest daughter, and he was so concerned about her. He said, hey, babe, I'm going to have to fly home to, check on her. Now, keep in mind, she's a grown woman. She doesn't live at home. Anyways, but I guess she was homeless or whatever the situation is. Now, keep in mind, we did everything together. Everything together. When I traveled, he traveled, whatever. And so this one particular moment, he was like, no, because I don't want you to miss work. I'm going to go up there. I'm going to check on her, and then I'm going to keep it moving. I'll be back home. So a couple of days have passed, and I'm laying in bed. Now, keep in mind, he's telling me that his daughter is in harm's way. So I'm laying in bed, and the phone's buzzing. Like it's blowing up. He's in the shower. He's getting ready for work. So what do? I grab his phone to give it to him. So when I go grab his phone, I see a message that says, I love you too. Chris. It's from Chris. So I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This dude is gay. He has a boyfriend. Like, I'm freaking out at the moment. And so one of our rules as husband and wife, just to show that the faith of us, there's no infidelity, we never had those passcodes and all the things. I don't even know if they had them back then. It was 2011, 2012. I don't even know, but we didn't have that on our phone. So I instantly just opened up the message, and I'm looking at dick pics and that he sent this person, and I'm just like, oh my god. Like, can you imagine, like, your significant other is like having an affair with the same sex? And so I'm just baffled. But Kiwi, I memorized the number. I'm like blah 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 blah, blah over and over in my head, and I put the phone down. I'm numb. I don't even know how to react to this, because I really only picked up the phone because I thought it was his daughter. So this is how I reacted. I get out of bed, I go make his breakfast, pack his lunch, and send him on his way to go to work. Why do I have to question him about it? I saw the proof and the evidence in the chain. Like, he wasn't even smart enough. Nowadays, y'all are smart enough. You're deleting your shit, or you have a burner phone in the back of the trunk. Let's be real, right? So I send him on his way. I go to work, and I had that number, blah, 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 over and over again in my head. So what do you think I did? Yeah, I did. I called it. I said, hello. Hello. I'm sorry, can I speak to Chris? Speaking. Oh, your name is Chris? Yeah, short for Christine. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. I was looking for a guy because all I saw was Chris in my husband's phone. So I just want to know what your relationship is with my husband. She gets quiet. She said, I thought you guys were divorced. I said, oh no, we're fixing to be. We're getting ready to be. I was under the impression, like, she goes, wait, I am not a homewrecker. Now she's She's all emotional. I'm not a homewrecker. I would never do that. He's supposed to be here on Friday. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Now, you remember he told me he was going to go check on his daughter. But now he's going to Chris's place. So I'm just like, oh my God, what the fuck am I going to do with this information? So I quickly react and I said, Christina, whatever the fuck your name is. Can you do me a favor? Woman to woman. And she's like, yes, I'm so sorry. I did not know. And I said, hold on, baby. I'm not mad at you. I appreciate the information. I'm not mad at you. I'm not married to you. Why would I be mad at you? You didn't do me wrong. And I said, how did you meet my husband? How did you meet Keith? And she said, oh, we went to college together, blah, blah, blah. We were dating, and then he ended up getting his ex-wife pregnant, and so we ended up breaking up because he got another girl pregnant while we were dating. And so she's telling me the story, and I'm just like, shit, I wish I would have known that before I would have married the motherfucker, because you clearly have this in your system. So anyways, I was like, oh, so but you said you knew about me? She goes, yeah, because when you guys got married, before you got married, I hit him up and he was like, yeah, I'm about to get married. And so like we remained friends after all these years. And I was like, oh, what? And so, I'm baffled because I'm like, oh, okay. So you knew that we got married? And she goes, yeah. And he called me one day just like sad and telling me that he's divorced now from you. And I was like, wow, because that's furthest from the truth. So you were going to consider going back to him even though he cheated on you with his first wife and had a baby. Actually, they had 3 kids together, mind you, back to back. She was like, yeah, because after all this time, I always held a torch for him. And I was like, oh, well, let me not get in the way of that. So, Chris, here's the thing. I am not going to say anything to him. Matter of fact, he'll catch his flight. She goes, excuse me, I am not a homewrecker, blah, 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 all the things, right? Let me tell you, that was fucking bullshit. I don't even, again, lying to yourself, you're lying to me for what? But anyways, so I close down my queue. I go to my boss and I'm like, hey, I have a family emergency. I run home. I grab all the totes that we had in the garage. I start packing up his shit. Nice and neat, nice and pretty. Because I told her, I said, don't say nothing to him. When he comes on Friday, you can have him. Matter of fact, keep him. I'm going to go, after I get done doing what I need to do, I'm filing for divorce. She's crying like, no. And I'm like, Chris, can you seriously not say anything? And she's like, why are you doing this? And I said, baby, you think I want a motherfucker that's, I know this sounds very contradicting, in love with another woman or whatever it is, the one that got away? Because, I just did that to him. Karma is a bitch, people. That shit was like, bam, slap in the face. Here I am holding a torch for the love of my life and just wanting to be with this man. I wanted this man to want me. And so I married somebody else to get over him. And the whole time he's literally, clearly in love with someone else. Karma's a bitch. I can't be mad at him. I really can't. It's funny now, right? After all this time, remember, one thing about me is I'm going to get through it. Are you? So anyway, so I pack up all the stuff and the next thing you know, I hear the door open. Bow! And I'm like, oh, I was almost done. I had all of the closet. I was still just putting all the... He comes barreling through the room. What the fuck did you do? And I was like, huh? What are you talking about? Why did you call her? Call who? Now keep in mind, I thought me and this bitch had a pact. I mean, come on, y'all. Woman code. If we say woman to woman, y'all motherfuckers, you ain't supposed to run your fucking mouth, bitches. Shut the fuck up. I was not going to say anything. I kept my fucking word. So anyway, so he's like, I can't believe you did that because now she's mad at me. And I was like, who's mad at you? See, I'm still playing dumb because I'm not going to show my hand because I don't know if you really know what the fuck's going on. But he knew because as soon as we hung up, what do you think? Keith, I can't believe you did that, blah, blah, blah. And he comes running home. I was so disappointed in her, man, because she kind of ruined the shit. Anyway, so he comes running home, and then he looks around and he's like, wait, why is all my shit in? So he looks around and he sees all these totes, and he's like, fuck? I was like, yeah, I don't know what you're so upset about, but I decided that I didn't want to be married to you anymore. After 9 years, blah, blah, blah. So what brought this on? Because you talked to her. I don't know who you're talking about. I'm miserable. And I know you are too. We don't do the things that we used to do and all the things like, I mean, it kind of like tapered off. He's like, what do you mean? We go on a date night every Friday, which we were dating each other again. We saw that our marriage was going this way. So we kind of like try to rekindle it with dating ourselves and doing all the things, right? And so I went and sat down in the computer room, and he's so mad. He punches a hole in the wall, and he throws his cell phone and shatters it. He's yelling at me like, just admit you talked to her. Just admit it. Just admit it. Just admit it. And I'm like, dude, I have things I got to do. Like, I'm not about to admit shit. Are you going to admit it? And then all of a sudden it was like, who the fuck are you talking about? Who are you talking to? You know. Do I? Or you want to tell me who you talking about? And because I was too calm and too collected, I said, you could just get your shit and get the fuck out. He calls 911. I'm like, I'm sitting in the fucking chair. Like, I'm not even going ballistic. I'm not even being toxic. Now, I got some stories about me being toxic, but this time, I was really being chill. I was like, I'm just telling you to go. I don't want to be married. And he was like, so he calls the cops. Cops come in the house. I'm sitting in a computer room. The cop with his hands on his hip is like, is there a problem here? I said, what the fuck are you doing in my house? He was like, we got a call. Okay, you got a call, but that doesn't mean you walk in my house. He's like, man, the screen door, that does not mean you walk in my house. So now I'm livid at the fucking cops. The energy I probably should have took out on Keith there. I took it out on, and the second officer, he comes up to me. He's like, ma'am, we just want to make sure you're okay. I said, I'm sitting right here. He's the one, you saw him. He's loading up his car right now. So there's not a domestic situation. He's moving out. He's like, why is he moving out? I said, ask him. There he is. Ask him. And he's like, sir, is everything? Just keep her away from me. And the cop goes, she's sitting down. He's like, yeah, but I don't want to take that chance, So he's having a conversation with the police, telling the cop to keep me away from him. So I was just like, I just need him to hurry up and be gone so I can file for divorce. So he's finishing loading up his car and, just like tearing up my house and for whatever reason. So he gets ready. So the cop was like, all right, well, it seems like everything is under control. We're getting ready to leave. I said, officer, because he was almost done. I said, can you grab my house key? So he's like, hey, sir, she wants that. He slams it on the counter, and then he gets ready to walk off. And the officer said, sir, hold on. You're just going to leave without saying goodbye to her? This is a beautiful woman. And you're just going to leave her? And I was like, oh, look at the officer trying to hit on me. But anyway, so he comes and sits down in front of me, and he's like, I said, you're mad. Okay. Huh? What the fuck is up with that, men? I'm sorry. It's really, I really want the answer to this, because y'all motherfuckers do the dirt, and then when a woman comes to you questioning you about what the fuck you did, now all of a sudden you're mad at us because we found the fuck out? You're mad at us because we found out. Instead of, do you know what kind of man you would be if you're like, look, humbly, I fucked up. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. All the things. But no, y'all get all your underwear, your boxers in a fucking bunch talking about you going through my shit, finding the... If you weren't doing anything wrong, there's nothing for us to fucking find. Then where's the issue at? You did wrong, but yet I'm the bad person because I found out. Here's my fucking phone. Go through it. You know why? Because I'm not doing nothing. That's what it looks like when you ain't doing nothing. Who gives a fuck if you're going through the phone? But at the end of the day, you guys stop doing that, because if you think that you gotta look for something, you don't need to be in that fucking relationship. That is serious. If you gotta look through your man's phone, or he got to look through your shit, and you're wondering, you're doing pop-ups and all this other shit, why are you in this fucking relationship? That's so much energy. If you don't trust the person that you're with, why are you there? It's not gonna change. It's just gonna get worse. Anyways, so he sits down and he's mad at me, and I'm like, nigga, get the fuck out of here, bruh. I don't want to hear that shit. You did wrong. So you want me to admit it? Yes, I called that dumb, stupid bitch. And for her to fucking tell you that I called her is dumb. Go be with her, because when you leave, I'm going downtown filing for divorce. No, I'm going to get my... So he ends up telling me I wasn't going to leave you. And I said, you weren't going to leave me? Oh, so you were going to go up there, mind you. You used your fucking daughter as an excuse, you slimy piece of shit. But you were going to go up there, have a wonderful weekend with her, and then come back home and be... Like, how the fuck do people that out here are cheating, how do you not have any fucking morals about yourself, that you're telling this person that you love, that you're sharing your life with, that I love you, but you're literally planning a trip. You're going to go be with this woman. You're going to fuck her. Clearly they fucked, or going to, or whatever the situation is, and come back home and act like, what were you going to tell me? My daughter was okay? Like, I put her in a house or a home and all the things. Like, the lie that you got to keep going. Like, wow, that's a lot of fucking energy. This is why I'm so fucking transparent. I always say, just be careful what you ask me, because I'm going to tell you the truth. You may not like the answer, okay? Anyways. So I was like, well, lucky me, you weren't going to leave me. Get the fuck out. That clicked. He's done this before, because he was very comfortable. The things you find out after a relationship ends, people, this motherfucker was fucking so many different women at his job, it wasn't even funny, man. I ran to the doctor to go get tested. I'm like, oh my God, I was married to a hoe. I didn't know it. Thank God they were all positive. I mean, negative results. Like, it was good news. Nothing. So hopefully, I guess maybe he was responsible. Thank God for that. But anyways, so I filed for divorce, and he's like, I'm going to file because I've seen you in action. He knows my background, and he didn't want me to file because I guess he thought I was going to, take him to the bank. I don't want nothing from you but your signature on the divorce decree. Do you know this motherfucker held up my divorce for over a year? And I'm just like, why? And the judge was like, well, he has to be here. And I'm like, he relocated. Here's the funny thing. How this story ends. I had to buy him a car because his credit wasn't that good. Ladies, men, check their credit, because if it's raggedy, and you can't get shit. Anyways, I ended up having to I bought him a car because his credit wasn't that good, and as long as he made the payments, there was not going to be any issues. And he was actually making the payments very good. That's an important part, because what happened was there was an accident. And when there's an accident, they notify the person that's on the car. And that was me. So I get this call from, the state or whatever. And they're like, hey, the vehicle was in an accident, and all the things. And I was just like, well, that's not my car. And then at that moment it clicked. I needed to get my name removed off of this. But let me tell you the story about why the accident happened. I'm talking about karma, how this shit came back on me. But remember what I told you, how you get them is how you lose them. So this girl, who claims that she didn't want to have nothing to do with Keith. I found out even 30 days after I filed for divorce, Keith popped up over my house. And I was cooking dinner, and my son was like, Mom, Keith is at the fucking door. He's annoyed. And so I'm cooking. He's like, man, I miss your cooking. I said, you want a plate? And he was like, seriously? I was like, yes, you can have a plate. Look, I'm not gonna. What I told you about my first husband. Like, I'm not gonna give nobody that much fucking power over me. Like, nigga, do you want to eat? I got the plate. I fixed his plate, and he carried it about his way. And he was like, I was actually coming here because I wanted to ask for us to reconcile things. And I was like, no, I'm glad you're here because I don't want to pay the $150 to serve you. I am the divorce papers. He tore them up right in front of me. I was like, fuck, now I got to go get another copy. But anyways, he left with his plate and he left still, single, not with me anyways. So the lady that's calling me about my car, she tells me that the car was in an accident. Because guess what? He was on a date with another bitch, and Chris decides to follow Keith and sees him on a date with another bitch. So she follows them on the highway, and she rams into the back of his car, and the car goes spinning on the highway. Now, I thought I was toxic. I'm not doing no shit like that. But anyways, so that's why they called me. They were like, yeah, it was an altercation. It was a domestic situation. I was like, wow. But Chris, you said he wasn't gonna do that to you. Get the fuck out of here. All y'all side pieces and dating other people. If you think that they are going to treat you in a different news fucking flash, if that person is, that's who they are, that's the result you're going to get. There ain't nothing you can do. We can't change nobody. That person is just going to be who they are. But I got through it. Because I finally got my divorce, and I started moving on with my life and picking up the pieces and doing all the things. So even after all of that, I questioned, like, why am I going through this? I wasn't innocent. I'm not proud of it. Especially when I look back now. I can't even blame the fact that I was young and dumb. I actually got into a relationship to get over somebody else. How many people are monkey branching? You know what that means, right? You're currently in a relationship, but you're online with your little secret dating profiles, trying to find the replacement because you're afraid to be alone. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that relationship that you're in, make sure this new one is going to work out, and then you're going to leave and we go from one relationship to the other. And that's what I did. I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of it. I'm proud of who I am today because I made those changes. I changed all of this. I had to reflect on my hurt, and I can't take it out on the next person. That's simply not fair. But anyway, so we ended up getting officially divorced. Thank God. 2012. Officially divorced. I had to do some self-reflecting, and at that time, I'm not even gonna lie, I monkey branched. I got into another relationship, and that was the relationship that I was telling you about 2 weeks ago. So where I went from, and I literally sat there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I went from one physically abusive to mentally abusive to another mentally abusive. It was just like something's got to give. But where do you think that something starts? It starts within yourself. If you think that you're going to continue the same outcome and think you're going to get a different result, come on. You guys, it's not going to happen. You got to get the healing. You remember what I said in season 2? No, that was season 1. Season 1, sorry. You have to work on your mental health in order for you to be ready to date. Stop dating out here just so you can feel better. You should feel better already. And then look at your past and your past relationships and say this one thing. You got through it. I got through it. And this is probably why I approach relationships, no matter what type of relationship it is, differently now. Because I don't want the karma. I don't want the drama. I don't want the stress. So the next relationship I'm going to be in is going to be pure and everything. We're going to be brutally honest with each other, no matter how bad it hurts. And the one thing I'm going to have in my next relationship is the ultimate trust. He's going to trust me, and I'm going to trust him. It's very hard to find these days, trust me, because it just does not. So I'm just going to end this by saying, you will get through it. But you got to make healthy choices, healthy decisions for you. Look at the foundation in which your relationship was built on. And is your next relationship's foundation going to be better than all of the other foundations? We are not going to get a different outcome, people. Say it with me. One thing about me is I'm going to get through it. I don't know who needed to hear this, but Kiwi said it. So before I close today, it's assignment time. So this week, think about some of the things that you got through. Look back. You got through it. Now think about what you got through and remember what I said last week. Like, where are you at? Where are you at in your life right now? Are you okay? Are you happy with that? So we're going to incorporate where you're at in your life, what you got through, and how going forward is going to be different for you. I desire for all of us, even me, especially me, all of us to have healthy relationships, happy relationships. So reflect what you got through, where are you at in your life, how we're going to change it. Thank you for joining me today. So until next time, if you haven't done so, why not? Have you smiled at somebody today? You know they are contagious. Remember, the energy we put out is the energy we receive. So are you putting out positive energy? Are you putting out negative energy? You know how you could change that negative? I said it with a smile. Stop and smile at somebody today. Bring some joy, bring love. Share all of that with somebody. You have a beautiful smile. Why don't you want to share it? Hey, smile back at me. I would definitely love that from you. So until next time, you guys, you enjoy the rest of your week.